Hello, I'm John Barboza, and you are watching Hypnotism 101. In episode 39, I talked about hypnosis and dentistry. Today, my guest and I, Maureen Anderson, are going to elaborate on that. So, Maureen called me one day and said that she was going to the dentist and asked if I could go along with her. I said, sure. So she called her dentist, asked if she could bring a hypnotist with her, and he pretty much said absolutely. So when we went to her dentist appointment, he greeted us and he asked, so what exactly are you going to do? I told him I was going to hypnotize Maureen. I was going to also deepen the hypnosis, and I was going to have her feel as though her entire face is anesthetized so that he can work on the procedure, which was a dental implant.
Right.
And he looked at me a little strange because he thought I was just going there to help her to relax. But he was like, okay, let's do this. So he had his assistant there, and they had some anesthesia on the side in case he felt that she needed it. And so what I did next was I hypnotized Maureen with a speed induction. She went into hypnosis very quickly. And then I tested her to see how deeply hypnotized she was. And I used Aaron's 6-depth scale. And what that is I had her imagine that her eyelids could not open. She then tried to open her eyelids, and she couldn't open them. So we produced eye catalepsy. I then had her imagine that her arm was stiff and rigid, and I had her try and bend her arm, and she could not move it. So then we had arm catalepsy. So I knew we were at a certain stage where we needed to be. I then tested her to see if she could remember her doctor's name, and she had no clue. She was looking right at him. So we knew that we produced amnesia. So she was pretty hypnotized and ready for the procedure. I then had her imagine that she was in a kayak, and it was midwinter, probably about 5 degrees outside. And as she was just moving down the river, her hand was just in the water, becoming very numb and very cold. When her hand was completely numb, I had her bring her hand up to her left side of her face, and she allowed all the numbness to leave her hand and go into the side of her face where the procedure was going to take place. From then, I told the doctor, she's all yours. He then went and started his procedure, and I sat back, and I'm going to let Maureen tell the rest of the story.
Well, I have to say I'm an avid believer in hypnosis, and I was looking forward to having this dental implant. It was a repeat. The first one failed miserably. The bone graft didn't take. I had lots of pain, lots of swelling, lots of bleeding, cannot speak after you have anesthesia, and it was not a good experience. So this time it was like miraculous. I had no pain whatsoever, no bleeding, no swelling, no numbness other than, the hypnosis numbness. Mm-hmm. And that was removed, and I came out of that procedure feeling better than before I went in. I had a gaping hole in my my mouth, and I had a new dental implant that's been fine, ever since.
That's right. And Maureen also told me that right after the procedure, you went out to do what?
I had lunch, and it was delicious, and not that numbness and pins and needles feeling of anesthesia wearing off, and you can't speak right, and you're drooling. Mm-hmm. Absolutely none of that. And I also had a hypnotism session prior, so that I slept well. I looked forward to it. I knew the procedure was going to be successful, and it was.
It's a good story. I enjoy that.
Thank you.
It was also a good day for hypnosis. It was great. I remember the assistant actually looking at Maureen when I asked her how she was, and she just said, I'm fine. And the assistant couldn't believe that she was talking so normal, because usually people are so numb, and they slur their speech because their mouth is all numb. But there was no numbness, there was no bleeding, and she felt actually better when she came out of hypnosis than she did when she went in. So it's a really good story, really very powerful story about hypnosis. And she did a great job. We all did a great job. We all worked together. And hypnosis isn't just for that type of a procedure. You can use it for just about anything. And with the dental, there's a lot of people who are very nervous about going to the dentist, and going to a hypnotist and allowing yourself to just be completely relaxed and comfortable while in the chair is something very, very powerful. And it can be done with hypnosis. So if you're feeling nervous, if you're afraid to go to the dentist, and there's a high percentage of people that are, try hypnosis. You'll be amazed of the outcome. Again, that was a great story. I enjoyed it, and I hope you guys enjoyed it also. I'm John Barboza, and this is Maureen Anderson, and you are watching Hypnotism 101.